folks, for the last 10 days, 10 long but glorious, chaotic days, while America was eating turkey, unfortunately watching the Cowboys win, pretending to get along with the in-laws, something else was happening, something bigger under the surface. A rumble, a shake, a tremor. I'm talking about a tectonic plate shift in college football. And on Sunday, boom, the earthquake hit. Ground zero, Oxford, Mississippi. Lane Kiffin, the man who just coached Ole Miss to maybe the most overachieving season in SEC history, the guy who took an 11-1 team that was supposed to finish somewhere behind lawn furniture in the SEC standings to the college football playoffs, a season that nobody outside of maybe a few bourbon-fueled Kevin Downey Jr.-like rebel diehards saw coming. LSU then slides the contract across the table. He sees all those zeros, and suddenly he's speaking fluent Cajun. Oxford's reaction? Well, imagine a pot of boiling gumbo boiling over. Well, that was pretty much what you got. Now, before you start throwing your remotes at the screen, let's make something crystal clear. I am not, nor have I ever been, a Lane Kiffin cheerleader. The guy's annoyed me more than once. He couldn't cover 7.5 as the dog against Georgia in Week 8, 7-4-1 against the spread this season, but I digress.
Who's counting?
But to condemn a man for trying to better his job, his life, his wallet, that's downright un-American. Capitalism is the engine of this nation. You better believe universities aren't turning down their engines when it comes to making money and cutting loose coaches like old Christmas trees. Ole Miss would have fired Kiffin the minute his record slipped. Don't doubt this. They fired David Cutcliffe after one bad season following Eli Manning. They fired Houston Nutt after 2 down years, just 2. And don't even get started on the NFL. Lane's own father, Monty Kiffin, well, he coached for about half the teams in America. Fired, hired, fired again. That's the profession. That's the game. So when LSU, a program with 3 national championships in the last 20 years, calls you and says, we'd like you to run the empire, you don't respond with feelings, you respond with a pen. And LSU, folks, LSU is not just another job. LSU is a juggernaut in college football. LSU is the one school in a state bursting with football talent. High school fields in Louisiana grow future NFL stars the way that California grows avocados. 4, count them, 4 of the best receivers in the NFL right now. Jefferson, Chase, Thomas, Neighbors, all LSU, all within an hour of campus. They practically roll out of bed ready for professional Sundays. Ole Miss has to fight Mississippi State just to keep a kid from Tupelo. Kiffin had to rely on the transfer portal like it was an Amazon Prime for football players, and he did it better than anyone else, but even that has a ceiling. So is Kiffin the villain here? No. Is LSU the villain? No. Ole Miss? No, they're not the villains either. They're just the jilted partner in the rom-com. They're standing at the airport screaming, how could you, while the plane takes off anyways? And folks, the tantrums, the airport spectacle, the alleged run Kiffin off the road incident, this was Ole Miss at peak emotional combustion. But you understand why. This was their entire season, their shot, their golden era, and poof, gone before the eggnog even hit the fridge. You feel bad for the players. Now, the real chaos was what was going on behind the scenes. Lane Kiffin wanted to finish coaching this playoff run. Let me do one last ride, he said. And yes, let's be honest, partly because he wanted access still, time to scout, maybe time to cherry pick some assistants, time to eye a few players to take with him to LSU. That's the business. That's the game within the game. Ole Miss said, no thanks, you can leave the keys on the counter, which is completely reasonable. And so they punted Kiffin out the door, handed the whistle to Pete Golding, and tried to pretend the house wasn't on fire. Meanwhile, Kiffin leaves with half the offensive staff, the analysts, the quality control guys, the grad assistants, everybody maybe except the janitor and the guy who runs the smoke machines. A mess, a glorious mess. But here's the punchline, folks. Here's the big reveal. Here's the moment where the screen zooms out and the narrator says, but wait, it wasn't their fault. Because the real villain here, the true architect of this chaos, is the NCAA and its nonsensical, dysfunctional, bureaucratic disaster of a calendar. National Signing Day for next year is this Wednesday. Portal opening, kids deciding right now. Coaches being hired and fired with the speed of a Vegas blackjack dealer. You cannot run a billion-dollar industry with a calendar that looks like it was planned by a drunk raccoon. You want to fix this? Move signing day to before the season. Move the late signing day to March. Put the portal in May, like Coach Nick Saban said. Boom, no more Thanksgiving weekend coaching Armageddons. But until they fix it, we get the entertainment. And let me tell you, there's been no greater show in America these last 10 days. Not sports, not politics, not in Hollywood, nothing. Lane Kiffin versus Ole Miss was the blockbuster we didn't know that we needed. And now we've created a rivalry so full of hatred, so full of venom, so drenched in emotion that it's going to make Yankees, Red Sox, Ohio State, Michigan, all of it look like kids play. Cowboys, Redskins, that doesn't even exist anymore. LSU Ole Miss is now the most electric, most dramatic, most thermonuclear rivalry in American sports. And next year, the battle takes place in Oxford. Folks, that stadium might spontaneously combust. So whether you adore Lane Kiffin, despise him, or just enjoy the chaos he leaves in his wake, this man just gave college football the greatest Thanksgiving gift imaginable. Drama, fireworks, ratings, and maybe, just maybe, the spark to fix the entire system. You don't have to like him, but you do have to thank him, because college football has never been more entertaining than it is right now. And that's tonight's first word.